Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Honored and excited to be connecting in with you. In August, we've been transitioning from that summer energy, really looking at how do we show up powerfully in our life, taking center stage. And we're starting to transition into the September energy, which is about finding your balance, kind of falling into that balance mindfully and purposely. So I'm very excited that today we have an amazing guest who's going to pour into us to help us navigate that from stepping into balancing this moving forward and really shining, really showing up in our life, but also finding that balance. So as things come up, as they do, not when, but not if, it's when those things come up, how are we able to navigate those and keep moving forward in those areas that matter to us and keep shining in our gifts and talents? Because we have a choice in how we choose to navigate our life. And we want to encourage you and empower you to navigate on purpose, mindfully, to have tools in the toolbox to help you show up, help you be seen, help you bring your gifts and your talents to the world, because you are absolutely needed. So let's take a moment, just take that in. And as you're breathing in through the nose, all the way to your toes, out through the mouth, I want to invite you to become fully present. Resist the pull to multitask. Instead, choose to be fully present, open, ready to receive. Give yourself the gift of this time to be poured into. You don't have to do anything. You get to be. You get to receive. You get to release what no longer serves. Give yourself the gift of this time together to receive deeply, to process, to release, to take in those things that serve, release those things that no longer do. So as you're breathing and becoming present, feeling your cortisol levels lessen, as you bring in that beautiful oxygen, becoming more and more present, I want to invite you to reflect on what we started talking about at the beginning of the show, which is how do we find that balance to keep moving forward in the ways we're called, to keep sharing, to keep shining, but navigating as life comes and we might have those unexpected twists and turns. How are we finding our balance in that, our rhythm in it, to keep stepping forward in those areas that matter to us, to keep showing up, to keep shining? And as you reflect on that, I want to invite you to close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. I invite you to put both hands on your heart. Continue to breathe. And as you're feeling your heartbeats, I want you to actually feel a little bit deeper. Feel in between the heartbeats. When we reflect on these things, what is it that you need today? What is it that your heart is sharing with you that you need to help you mindfully, purposely, powerfully move forward? What do you need? Real time. That you are willing to receive, because you have choice even in that. You don't have to figure out the how. We're simply identifying what it is that you need and are willing to receive. Beautiful. As you breathe and take that in, I want to invite you to become fully present, eyes open, ready to be part of the conversation, fully alert, and take a moment to write down what was laid on your heart. When you took a moment to pause, to listen, to receive, what was laid on your heart? Let's take a moment to write it down, start to co-create it, bring it into reality. Stop it from just swirling around in you, but let's start to bring it forward so you can start to interact with it. As we go through our time together today, I'm going to invite you to glance at that paper, to take notes, to start to write and integrate in those things that can serve. Be leaning in with great excitement and anticipation as to how this need can be moved forward, because you're here on purpose. You chose to be here today. There is something for you in our conversation, and I want you to receive it. So have that paper and pen ready. Lean in with your heart and spirit to be surprised in an unexpected way. That need can move forward and support you on your journey. Beautiful. With that, we're going to go around our virtual room and have our guest share, when we took a moment to stop, pause, and listen, what was laid on her heart. So, Francois, I'd love for you to share what was laid on your heart.
Hello, Rebecca. So, love and support was laid on my heart. And I wrote as well how important it is to bring our lives, our minds, our hearts, our bodies into consciousness.
Beautiful. I love that. I love the feel of how you shared that, of us becoming more aware, present, conscious, and that reminder of love and support, that we are loved, we are supported, and to really feel that. Beautiful. Thank you. As we get ready to go to our first commercial break, I want to invite you listeners to stay present, to really see what is speaking to your heart, to your spirit, as the conversation continued and we added in love and support. What did that spark within you? So take these 2 minutes. They're a commercial break. It's in disguise. These are breaks for you to stay present, to really receive everything that's being laid on your heart and your spirit. And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
Success starts here. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com. It's your world.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes. That opportunity to stop, pause, breathe, and be present. I find sometimes we just move so quickly. We're so busy doing. Sometimes the day gets to be in charge and it's running us, and we forget to drop down and take a moment and just breathe 1 minute, 2 minutes, connect in, and then choose how we step forward. So I want to encourage you, we have commercial breaks built into the show on purpose for you. So those are 2 minute moments designed to give you a moment to process, to breathe, to interact with the experience today, to release what no longer serves, take in and process what does, and to listen to how that is speaking to your heart, to your spirit, to take notes as you continue our conversation. And here's my extra credit bonus tip, that you can carry this practice beyond the show. So at the end of the show, you can take a couple of minutes for you. When you're standing in line unexpectedly or waiting at a light or a stop sign, and it's taking longer than you expected, perhaps that is a gift, a moment for you to drop in, to connect in, take a breath, and choose how you navigate forward. So I want to encourage you to use those moments. We've built them into the show today. So in our opening segment, we're introducing what we're talking about today, which is really finding that balance to be able to really sink into who we are as we are moving forward and shining, kind of no matter what may happen to us in life. How do we continue to shine, show up, find that balance, weave through our day, our week, our month, and our lives, and really show up in a way that we are shining. We're sharing our gifts, our talents with the world. We have an amazing expert today. You got to hear from her a little bit in the opening segment, and who she really had laid on her heart about love and support, really feeling that when we took a moment to feel in. It's my honor to more formally introduce Françoise E. Netter. She has an MA and over 40 years of experience leading as a leading innovator in the fields of yoga, dance therapy, creativity, resiliency, trauma, and stress management. She's taught at numerous universities and has helped train teachers, therapists, and medical professionals. She's been as a published author and has been featured on multiple medias, including the New York Times, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Jose Mercury News, and various other magazines. She is passionate about helping you move forward and shine, in all capital letters with an exclamation point. So please lean in. Warmly welcome the powerful, dynamic, and heart-centered Françoise E. Netter. Welcome.
Hello, Rebecca, again. And hello, all my listeners, all your listeners, all our listeners today.
Oh, welcome, welcome. Excited to have you joining us today. And I wanted to start our conversation with why. Why is this work of helping people in this way, why is that personally so important to you?
Oh, what a great question. So I knew at the age of 5, I was born in Europe and came to America the first time when I was 3, and then we kept going back and forth until I was 7, back to Europe. And I knew at the age of 5 that I was here to serve the world through my creativity. Don't ask me how I knew that, but it was a sort of pointing star that kept me aligned through a great deal of darkness that was my childhood. And yet it was always there guiding me. And to this very day, it has allowed me to move deeply into spirituality as well as creativity, and then finding a way to facilitate that path of authenticity for others.
Mm. I love it. And I love that at such a young age you knew, and that you have followed it ever since. Tapping into your creativity and authenticity. It's so powerful.
Yeah, I knew, but I lost my way for a while, and I think that's also been part of it. You talk so much about balance and shining, and in your opening, you also really reiterated about being conscious of taking those breaks, of moving deep within, breathing, and not being so busy that all we do is react and do. And I think for me, the greatest lesson for this lifetime has been, how do you navigate when it's not harmonious out there, when the things out there don't look the way you want them to, where, like you said, the unexpected happens and it's not the unexpected that you want. And then, you know, for many of us, the last 2.5 years were like that. They were dark, dark times that for some people brought us to our knees. And there are times that we go through grief and loss. And how do we navigate through that? And so even though I knew at 5, and thank goodness my path was very lit up, there were dark times, and that too became part of my journey.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And that reminder that even dark times can be part of our journey and we can navigate through them. And that uncertainty, you know, sometimes we don't mind the uncertainty that brings these amazing, positive, powerful things, right? But that uncertainty that brings the other stuff, we're not always so pleased with. And I love that that even can point us on our way. So I'd love for you to share if you have a couple of tips or suggestions or a way to look at some of those things, because we all face challenging, uncertain times that we have to navigate. And I'd love for your tips on that or suggestions when we have those moments.
Well, I was, part of my path was being sexually and emotionally abused and also losing, you know, not having the kind of support as a child that I would have ideally needed, or we all would. So my path as a child was a lot of trauma, and to also ingest the lineage that my family were traumatized. They were all Holocaust survivors. So it made me, which is interesting at 16, really ponder what creates greatness out of trauma, like people like Nelson Mandela or Alice Hurt Summers, who at 110 was the oldest living Holocaust survivor. Helen Keller, who was born without speech, sound, or eyes. And what creates for some people who go through real hardship and trauma, like my stepfather, who was an Auschwitz survivor, to become just like his perpetrator. So at a very young age, I began to ask questions of what creates greatness out of difficulty and challenge and tremendous adversity, and what allows people to be broken. And so I think that question is really important. And for some reason, I always was very conscious. I was always looking at how can I be self-responsible? How can I not be a victim? How can I look at the world and be responsible for my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions, and what is going on in my body that allows me to tune into what's going on in my mind and my emotions. And for some reason, being very connected to creativity, to art, dance, music, nature, allowed me, along with asking these questions and going deep inside, to navigate my way. So I would say the first thing, I've created a 4-step process for people to navigate, and I call it 4 steps of resiliency. And the first is to actually be conscious of what you're going through, whether it's a past trauma or a current one that might have triggered something from the past. The second step is to find ways to feel it, to not just stuff it. The third step is then to be able to transform those very intense negative feelings, to not be afraid of them, but to just be able to express them, and through that expression to transform them. And then the fourth step is to do what some of these examples, to become thrivers, to really reveal your truth through these dark times, to the other side. And I think that is our greatest gift for the world.
Thank you. So much great insight, and I appreciate you sharing the depth of some of the things that you have come through and some of what you have learned about finding and navigating difficult, challenging times and being self-responsible, not a victim, choosing how you move forward and how important that feeling processing is a part of that journey. I was at an event this past weekend, and we were talking about muscle testing and feeling in kind of different ways that people muscle test or try to get information from their body. For those of you who muscle testing is a new concept. And one of the comments I got from somebody, because I was showing how it shows up on me, how I recognize and feel. And the response was, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I just don't think I'm that in tune with my body to know what it's saying to me. And I thought that was such a powerful awareness to discover and to explore. So I'm curious, as you're sharing some of these things, some of our listeners, this might be a really new concept to the feel and the processing to release is what you're sharing. So any suggestion or tip you have around that?
Yeah, I'd love to share about that. So at 21, I became a dancer. I had gone to Israel, and I saw my first modern dance company. And for some reason, I thought, I can do this. Even at 21, I can become a dancer. And shortly thereafter, I discovered a very small, burgeoning field called dance therapy. And I thought, oh, my goodness. This is extraordinary. This is the perfect marriage between creativity and serving others. And we know, because there's so much information out there, that the mind, right, our thoughts can physically affect our body, right? Our emotions, our mind, and our thoughts affect our physical body. And this was a field that said that the body and shifting the way the body moves and expressing through the body can change our mental and emotional state. And in the 21st century, now we know through people like Candace Pert, who wrote all about the field of psychoneuroimmunology. We know through epigenetics that our thoughts, our lifestyles, and our emotions can affect not only our physical body, but our DNA and everything else. So through the field and what I created.
I'm just going to interrupt for a moment here just to circle back. So this is great. We're getting really close to the commercial break. So I wanted to just circle back on this dance therapy that you're sharing about. Is that a way, moving to music, that people can start to reconnect those things if right now it's kind of a blank, there's a disconnect? I'm just curious if that's what you have found.
Well, I created something a little bit different called Movement for the Mind, and it is a way of moving consciously and using movement as a way to engage the alpha brainwave state and to do it in a conscious way.
Nice. And that can help reform that connection or get rid of the fuzziness that might be there.
And also to tune people into what they're feeling very consciously and to transform that which they don't want anymore, that needs to be released. Yes.
Oh, so powerful. Okay, great. Thank you. I just didn't want to leave anyone hanging during a commercial break looking for, but I'm that too. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Listeners, so no one's left hanging as we go to our commercial break. I think that in of itself is an amazing awareness. If you do find, wow, I don't know how I feel about that, or what I like and don't like, or I feel a disconnect. That's great to become aware of, because then you can start to shift. And like Francoise shared, she has some really powerful tools to help those things connect again and to hear and understand each other. So let's take these next 2 minutes to just kind of sink into all that Francoise has shared and just see what's bubbling up And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
Success starts here. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com. It's your world.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and kind of felt into what was bubbling up. I know Francoise and I were talking a little bit behind the scenes about how important this is and how often we can become disconnected from our body, from our feelings, from what we think or even feel. And it's a really, really important subject. And so I know Francoise wanted to just add a little bit before we kind of move on to the next thing we're going to share about, but I wanted to make sure we didn't leave anybody hanging. And those of you who have discovered, wow, I don't really know what I think or what I feel or what's there, there's a blink, or I'm not sure. We wanted to make sure we gave you some support in that. So with that, Francoise, please finish up your amazing share around this important area.
Well, we have to remember, and especially if there's been any trauma, and I think just coming into the physical body, we all have some of it, and we don't have to weigh how much. But the body, we often, in therapy, we talk about talk therapy, and that all happens in the beta brainwave state. And I know for PTSD, there has been so much research done that talk therapy does not work. And the reason for that is because feelings are in the body. And in order to access those feelings, we have got to work in the alpha brainwave state. And the alpha brainwave state is accessed through creativity, through meditation, through the nonverbal. And so the more conscious we become of our feelings, our thoughts, our body, and the connection, the more choices we have, because we're no longer a victim to just anything out there. We're not just leaves in the wind, but we are able to bring things in much more of a focused, joyful place. And I love that you started, all of this. What is the reason we do all this conscious work? It's to shine. It's to re-embrace our joy and our play and our, we all want to be happy. We all want to be joyous. And I think it's the only reason to do this conscious work is so that we become these beings that add to the world. And we can only do it from modeling our own growth, our own expansion.
I love it. Thank you for sharing and adding that in and why it's important to connect and to feeling. And the other thing I'm hearing throughout your sharing is that we don't have to do it on our own. That there's tools out there, people that can walk beside you and support you in this journey, and being aware that there are these feelings, there are these things that can and sometimes become trapped within us if we don't find a way to process and release, which I loved your 4-step process. So do you mind running through just at a high level those 4 steps again for our listeners?
Yeah, the first step is, we go through whatever is challenging us, and it can be something triggered from our past, a deep wound, or it could be something, most things are connected. So the event, the trauma, the darkness, the challenge. And then the second step is to feel it. And sometimes that means you're going to be in a state of negativity or grief or sadness or anger or frustration or hopelessness. And then the third step is to transform that through being willing to move through those feelings. And then the fourth step is to reveal your truth and to move from surviving to thriving. And I think the key to that is really sharing and contributing in your own unique way. And each of us has a unique gift, a snowflake, to give to the world.
I love that. We want to each be our own snowflake, not someone else's snowflake, but our beautiful snowflake, to share that. And I like how you're saying, feel, but don't stay. Don't camp out, don't build a house there. Feel it, process it, release it. So important. And that the reason... Go ahead.
That transformation. Transformation is the key.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, love it, love it, love it. So as you reflect back on our conversation today, I know the time goes very, very quickly. I've been thinking about, we've talked about connecting, why that's important, some of what people can do when they're navigating these challenging times or things not going according to the plan, the way you thought they should go and flow. You have this opportunity to kind of stop and connect and process. So I'd love to know, how does choice fit into all of this? And how does knowing this, starting to build some of these practices into our life, how does that help us build a life that is balanced, that is thriving, that is shining?
Well, again, I just went through something personally that had to do with a relationship that the person that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with decided he didn't. And we've all been through that, I'm sure. Taking birth in this body, many of us have done that, whether it's, through a significant other or a family member or something. And so, part of it is giving myself space to feel the grief and then knowing how long I've done it. And then to realize, okay, I'm going to feel the uncomfortable feelings. I'm going to let them go and release them and know that the universe is honorable. And that's something, if this person couldn't meet me where I stand, then there's a reason. And I've got to move beyond what appears to be happening to a higher level. And one of the things I would say, I love hearing about other people who've made magnificent contributions to the world, who've had to move through their own journey, and how they navigated from, the darkest of dark and gotten to the other side. So that's where I think choice happens, is that when you have to be able to go through the discomfort and then move to the other side. And there's not one path for everyone. There's not one type of meditation. There's not one type of breathing. There's not one type of creativity that allows people to express their feelings. So, it's really that there's choice in that, and also knowing that when you have the courage to dive into the discomfort, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And that brings the choice.
I love that. And I think reminding us of that sometimes when we're in that feeling and the darkness or the pain of it, we can feel like it's forever. And then realizing
Yes.
it isn't. There is light. There is a reason to feel, to release, to process, to go through. And then when you get on the other side, the perspective shifts. You're able to move forward without that weight, so to speak, holding you down, and shine in powerful ways. Any final thoughts you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, and I think, in nature is such a great visionary tool. If you look at, when things die from a plant and how some plants are perennials, some are annuals, and how even a seed, where does a seed go? It goes in the dark soil. So I think we need to reintegrate the understanding that when we go through darkness, it's part of a process, so we don't avoid it, so that we can connect with each other in the dark and as we move to the full blossom of our lives.
Beautiful. And you can't get to the one without going through the other.
Yeah, and so many of us avoid that. Our whole world, like you said, being busy and going from one relationship to the next and going from one thing to the next keeps us so busy that we don't have to feel.
Mm-hmm. But I think we really miss out on the full depth and range and going into the full light, really being able to share and shine. So thank you. I think that's such a beautiful visual of the blossoming and the seed being planted and coming through the darkness to the light to really share beauty and wonder. And I'm curious, how does, as we're reflecting all of this, because we've talked a lot about embodying and conscious and feeling the feelings, like really connecting in with the body, how does spirituality tie into this, or does it? Our faith, our beliefs, how does that fit in?
Well, I think that it completely fits in. We are at a point in the world where we are embracing the great spiritual understanding of the yogis, which is 5,000 plus years, and we brought it into the sense of science with psychoneuroimmunology and epigenetics and neuroplasticity, and understanding that we are so much more. We are vibrational beings. We are part of nature. It's that part of, the snowflake is unique, but it's made of the same molecules. And so as we connect to the mind, the body, and our emotions, the spirit is what, the vibration is what fuels it. It's our engine. So it's really one system. And it is really time to integrate that. And what you said in the beginning, that's the balance.
Beautiful. I love that. It all connects. We are all part of it. These are not separate little compartments that we don't let touch each other. They're all connected. And I think that balance, that integration is just so key, powerful. Well, any final thoughts as you're reflecting back? I know we've covered a range of topics. I wanted to make sure listeners had a chance to touch on some of these things. But as you can tell, each of these concepts we could go deeper and deeper into. So I wanted to make sure we had a way that you could connect with Françoise and go deeper for those things that are pulling at your heart. She's such an expert in these things and really being able to embody and connect. And so I would love for you to share the best way for people to connect in with you and go deeper.
Oh, thank you. So I have probably the best way for people to connect is to go to my website. I have several resources on there. I have lots and lots of blogs and podcasts and YouTube channel, and I have 2 CDs that are guided, and I have my book, Movement for the Mind, Dance That Awakens Healing, Inspiration, and Wisdom. And you can go to my website, www.bodyminddynamics.org. And it's Body Mind Dynamics, 2 Ds, dynamics.org. And I would love to offer your readers a free 15-minute consultation to see what would be the best next step for them. I also do clairvoyant readings and coaching, and as I said, I have resources, free resources, and CDs and books and sessions and classes, and I would love for your readers, your listeners, to just contact me through the website, to email me, or to go ahead and call me and book an appointment.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you making yourself available in that way. And listeners, I encourage you to lean in. Check out her amazing resources. Learn more. If you feel that pull and call in your heart, there's a reason. That leaning in, that curiosity, that thought that just won't let you go, there's a reason. So lean in to her leaning into you. And that's what sharing that contact information is about. It's really giving you an opportunity, building a bridge so that you can have her support and the resources that she has at her fingertips. So I encourage you, and to be given an opportunity for an in-person live conversation is very generous. So I want to thank you, Francoise, for making that available to our listeners around the world. And listeners, if you feel that pull, lean in, say yes, and allow that support into your life. We're getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do, I encourage you write down her contact information, put down, reach out, check out, have an action item you're going to take, and we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Success starts here. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com. It's your world.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you wrote down Francoise's contact information. I hope you lean into the subject matter that we've been talking about. Part of the key to really finding that balance in your life, to really shining and sharing out your gifts, is to fully integrate and connect all of you to all of you, not these separate compartments, and really tapping into that wonder of who you are, knowing you have support. I hope you feel the support coming alongside you today. And wherever you are in that journey, as Francois was sharing about the seed, it doesn't feel great when you're planted in the dirt and the muck. and the mud. And there's the growing of the little roots. And then growing, and you're not quite sure, is it headed to the light yet? But it is there, and you will break the soil top, and you'll break through. And trust that and know that that's to be true. And as you break through and see that light, you get to suddenly become more of who you are. And as you spread and blossom above ground, you get to share your wonder, your beauty with all those around us. And that makes a positive impact in the world. One little seed being planted at a time. So be willing to be that seed. And wherever you are in that journey, I want you to be encouraged and know that it matters, that there is a purpose, that there is light. It just might be through another little layer that you can navigate through with support. And that it does matter when you break through and fully integrate. And part of those roots needing to be grown first gives you the ability to weather the storm when you're above the soil. So honor the process wherever you are in it. Be willing to integrate, tap into amazing experts like Francoise, like the shows that we have to support you. Tap into that ongoing support. Pay attention to what you're pouring into you and give yourself time to integrate. So today, I want to invite you, extra credit bonus challenge at the end of the show. Take a few minutes for you. Take some time to integrate what has been spoken to you, what has bubbled up within you as we've shared. Maybe you've discovered where you are in that journey. Perhaps there's a step that you can take today. Or if you look back at the beginning of our conversation at what was laid on your heart that you are needing today, perhaps some of that has shifted and moved. Because the biggest gift you can give the world is more of you. So keep growing, keep taking those steps, feel our energy and support along the way. If we can support you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. In fact, we have a new show we've launched called the Ask Rebecca Show. You can learn more about it at theaskrebeccashow.com. And you can enjoy the shows. It's on the YouTube channel. It's designed for that, 3 to 10 minute segments. And I want to invite you, if there's something bubbling up, we love to support you. We can either bring guests on our show here. We can answer those questions on that platform there. You can select a question, submit a question by going to askrebeccaAquestion.com. askrebeccaAquestion.com and submit your question, and we'll look through them and lean into supporting you. For anyone out there that's like, wow, I would love to be on the show. I'd love to be a guest, or I want to share a little bit more and be on more shows. We have a resource for that too. You can simply go to speakertalentsearch.com, speakertalentsearch.com, and that's how we select our amazing guests like Francoise, who is so generously poured into us today. So I want to invite you to lean into wherever you're on that journey. If you're on the, I have questions, I need support, we've provided that. I need to learn more, I need more Francoise, we've provided that. Are you ready to shine, share out, we've provided that. So lean into wherever you're on that journey to get that support to help you share the amazing gift of who you are. Because you matter, and you were made for such a time as this. And what the world needs is more of you. So as you go forward, choose to bloom where you were planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.